Hey guys, cool blonde right back. I'm Rick.
Eric.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Calvin.
Yes.
We are back with the finale of Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works.
It's been a little while because we also had the first Fate series and then this Fate series.
And it seemed like we kind of finished last episode in terms of defeating Gilgamesh and stopping the Grail and Excalibur and all that stuff. So what happens in this? Is it more of an epilogue? Is it a setup? Is it a... he was dreaming the whole time.
It's probably like a 5 years later thing where it shows us how well Reen has been doing with taking care of Shiro.
Yeah.
How buff he is now.
Ooh, he's got white hair and he talks like this now.
She's got to get her crest back.
Didn't it
They got,
dissolve?
Yeah.
It's gone.
they got bump bellies.
Didn't it go...
It's
gotta get
from a
another one.
lifetime of building up mana. From all of the family members up through, whoever uses the crest has to put a little bit of themselves back into it. So it's more powerful for the next generation. It's all gone!
I think with this final episode, we will see that actually it's not over and Sakura is still there. She's going to be the final boss, but they don't have
What servants
to
has
help.
she summoned?
Lighter was hers all along and she was playing dead.
I just hope something
Nope,
terrible
sorry.
happens to Shinji.
You what?
I just want something terrible to happen to Shinji.
I want something more terrible than
Yeah.
being devoured by the
I
Lesser Grail.
was really hoping that motherfucker had 3 tails or something.
What?
Something, you know? He was just like in that pool of body parts.
At
I
the
thought
very least.
the body parts were him.
Oh.
I hope they were him.
I thought he was Akira,
You were hoping he would be disformed.
like Tetsuo.
Changed up.
Yeah,
At the very least, I hope his magical circuits are broken.
that
He
would
can
be
never
very
use magic
nice.
again.
Yeah.
Maybe he's had like a stroke and can't use the left side of his brain.
The mottos are never been... They've been losing their power anyway, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Something's a motto with him.
Oh, goodness gracious. That's how we're going to start the finale. All right,
No.
strap in, boys. I was wondering what the end was going to be. I was like, well, it was just like, and here's a cool wallpaper.
Yeah.
Or screensaver, I should say.
What was the very last shot? Was it...
It was,
Walking through the desert?
yeah, it was walking through the desert. No horse,
Yeah, like,
no name.
but Archer turned into him. It's like Archer faded away, but Emi was still there.
Yeah, there's some questions here that I have. I don't understand this epilogue as much as I felt like concluded last episode. Some stuff is interesting, but other stuff I'm like, what am I supposed to get that he was never on the track team? What was her fond memory? Is that like the timeline has changed? Maybe the Archer, I don't know how she'd have that memory, but maybe that Archer was on the track team? I don't know.
What's in the envelope?
What's in the envelope?
What was the question he wanted an answer to?
What's in the box?
It seemed like he got that answer, but it didn't tell us what the answer was.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine a few things must be nods towards
Other
other
routes,
routes or other story beats from the game and stuff like that, right? Like Lady Luvia or whatever her name was. Like,
Luvia.
she just showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and they had
I
a
had no
fucking
connection to
wrestler
her.
fight.
They had a fight, but I'm like, ultimately, what does that mean, really?
They should be expelled. Did you see that beautiful mosaic floor they just destroyed?
And then
That was the gym room.
instructor
That was not the
picked
gym
with
room.
magic.
I guess they could fix it with magic.
Yeah. It was like, flipendo! And the whole thing just flips over and there's a new floor.
That's not how. That's probably how it works, unfortunately. Miss Lugia.
I feel like I didn't feel that way in Zero so much, where it's like, man, I really need to go and play the game and get the whole story. Like, I felt like Zero told a story very well, had like a satisfying conclusion, even though it was a terrible conclusion. Like, it was a satisfying one.
Yeah, no, there was nothing that I was like, what's this supposed to be? Or, I mean, there were tiny things like that, but I felt satisfied at the end. And to be fair, I also felt satisfied at the end of the last episode. This one just, I guess it just leaves things kind of open-ended and they're going off on this, adventures with each other and stuff like that. But, I don't know why, we see them at the clock tower school and then we flash back to them at their other school, however long ago, saying, hey, you want to go to the school? Sure. I just felt like that was a waste of 10 minutes I didn't get anything from.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I felt like we had much less time with Kuritsugu, I feel like. Like, we were halfway through Fate Zero before we even really knew who the protagonist was.
True.
I felt like. But I felt like I understood him more than I understood Shiro. like I still don't know that I really understand Shiru all that well.
I feel like I understand Shiro. I don't fully understand how Shiro becomes Archer and the specific relationship in Shiro's timeline to Archer. Like,
I mean, some of that might be the idea is that he never does, right? Like maybe he never becomes Archer. He wants to become the hero of justice, but not like Archer is not what he becomes.
Yeah.
Could be a possibility of the way it goes, right?
I mean,
Because he's seen
Yeah,
what
which-
happens when he goes that route and what he becomes, and he doesn't want to do that.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but at the end, Archer said like, "But I was never wrong."
I mean, he becomes Archer because he
Well-
eventually finds out there is no such thing as justice. It's just more bullshit. It's more death, more betrayal, more men doing shitty things, and there's
think
no
Archer-
fixing it.
Yeah, I think Archer pushing Shiro to not become the hero of justice made Shiro change how he was going to be a hero of justice. I think that act in itself of Archer pushing against his inevitability altered the course of Shiro's ascension, or whatever
When-
it is.
I guess the part of like, I was never wrong. That's the line he has, right?
I think so.
Like,
yeah.
what does that pertain to exactly? You know,
Like, if he hadn't pushed against it, then nothing would have changed. And
like he was right to go back and try to change things. Thus, things changed.
He was never
right.
wrong because Shiro eventually will feel the regret of the decision that he's made to become the hero of justice or to go on this path. Like you're going to feel that regret. That's what he's right about.
I mean, he was talking about the regret in that same scene.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if
that's what I took it as, but I also didn't really understand what he meant.
Lost track of times. Wish that could go back and change it or whatever. Like there was many times where Emiya wanted to go back in time and change the things he had done or something like that.
I think it's ultimately the same thing that
But-
Kurisugu.
Maybe it's meaning exactly that. How many times did Emiya want to go back and change the things he's done, but he was never wrong in like some of that, like in his feelings of what he felt like, right? And that's what shaped him to be who he was. Like maybe like Emiya always looked back, there were regrets of this and this, and he became something more because of those regrets or wishing he could go back and
like
change
the
things.
idea of like having perfect hindsight, but also if you had to do it over again, you would do it the same way.
So
I
is
don't know. Maybe
the
something like that.
is the I was never wrong coming from the future, this version of Shiro, or coming from what we know as being Archer? It's the future, this version of Shiro, right?
I mean, that's a possible outlook of like who is it coming from. But the other side of it, I feel like, is also saying I was never wrong. If I said I was never wrong, what does that mean? You know?
Hell
That mean
is still
ever?
hot.
Am I just saying ever wrong? Never, ever. Or am I saying like a specific event? Am I
he
meaning
seemed
like
to be talking about himself and Shiru and his path. But I don't know, like, was he never wrong about being a hero of justice?
he's
Or
never
was
wrong
he never
that
wrong
he should have
about
killed himself?
Yeah, because like he's like throughout that Archer's existence, it seems like he has had many different and conflicting ideas and ideals. So he had to have been wrong about one of them.
Well,
Because
no,
they-
I think it's just the two ideals of Archer and Shiro. And I think the conflict is that they're both right. I think that's why he's saying he was never wrong. Like, whichever side of the coin you look at, he was doing it for the right reason.
So like the path ends in desolation, but it was still right to walk the path,
I guess.
kind of thing.
As a thing, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's what he's meaning by it or not. Like, there's a few ways you can maybe take some of that kind of stuff or look at it, and maybe it means more than one thing. But there's a few things they did where it's like the mentioning of the track thing. Like, if they never mentioned that, I would have just been like, oh, well, that was a memory where she first saw Shiro and maybe had feelings or something like that, and she felt embarrassed that he saw that. But then she brought it up, and he's like, I was never in track. I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
He's like, oh damn,
Like,
I wasn't in love with this guy at all.
you took what I thought I understood and was fine with, and then tossed that in, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? And
Is
what's
the
that mean?
epilogue just like what the story would have ended had the storyline gone a slightly different way?
I
I don't think so, because I think this is the path where you end up with Ren, and like that's the through line.
With Reen?
Huh?
With Reen?
With Reen, yeah. And I mean they were still together at the end here. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's a different route.
And well, like then we also have like the teacher person or whatever that he saw that he talked to, which it was Waver,
91%.
which ultimately that conversation was that just to
It's foolish.
lead him
Foolhardy.
to follow
Fear
his
your
dream.
dream is too large for this place to contain.
I mean, I think it's the same thing that happened to Kuritsugu, but it happened literally to Kuritsugu. Like, literally, your wish is not possible. You know? Like, Kuritsugu wanted this to be, peace, no war. Everyone that, does war is gone. And, you just can't do that. And I think that being the ultimate hero of justice and striving for ultimate justice doesn't exist. He ultimately goes the long path, but gets to the same conclusion. But that doesn't mean just because you can't have world peace or, ultimate justice that you don't strive for those things.
Sure.
You just hope that you leave it a little better than you left it.
It's like the strive for perfection. Like you can never achieve it.
No.
But you should never not strive for it.
Yes. Exactly. So, I mean, it's still a worthy cause, but it's still hypocritical because you know that there's no way you're ever going to achieve it, but you still should go for it.
It feels weird to make these to be like a series on their own, but to have it where like the game tie-in. Like there's a difference between like having a nod towards like a game thing, and then having some things that just feel weird, like messing up the story almost. You know what I mean?
It's like
You talking particularly about the epilogue?
Yeah. Like what they did here. Like, is there stuff in here that's nodding towards other elements of the game or where the game goes in the future?
There's nothing to say that's the case. That could
just
be
wondering-
an explanation. I kind of think it's just like they're giving you breadcrumbs and some stuff, and maybe try to figure out a little bit extra if you want to.
So I have a very limited knowledge on these things, but of the ones I've played, you go through all the routes, and then there's a secret route that's like everything ties together route, right? So maybe that ending is the secret route once you've done all the others?
Or it's leading towards them. And they were going to
Or
do
it's
4
going
other
away.
series covering the other routes, and they just never did. I don't know. There was some weird things in it, I felt as well. I definitely felt less confused at the end of last episode.
yeah, me too.
I can say that much, I think.
Sure.
Where I'm like, I feel like I have a good handle on where everything is sitting, And then this episode, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not too sure on this. I don't know what he meant by that. Was that supposed to be someone I knew? Why is that lady showing up?
I feel like because they wanted to integrate it into like a visual novel thing and not just leave the story by itself, that it made me feel like I was unfulfilled because they brought up new like story threads and didn't resolve them.
That's the thing. I don't know if it's because of the visual novel or not, Like, I would feel like if that's the case, I hope it seems weird, and I would hope it's not.
So,
But for fans who would be craving more story, that would be good for them, right?
Yeah, but like Star Wars has done it various times where they bring up something from another source, but they don't do it to where it really interrupts. It's more of like, oh, that's this. Like if the lady Luvia or whatever thing, if that's just someone else from like a different route or from a future thing or whatever, and you just have her in there, that seems okay. But I don't know. The biggest one for me is really the track one, where I'm like, well, what was that supposed to all mean, and what was the point of showing like that memory being seen, or does it have any meaning? Maybe it's not supposed to have any meaning. Maybe maybe it wasn't sure at all, and she thought it was this whole time. Like I don't know what to take from it, And it's like the conversation at the end with Archer, and like trying to figure out what exactly he means by that.
I feel like the Archer stuff, I get, with the idea that, look, everybody's been telling you at the end of the day, this shit is not going to work. Everyone, And I think at the end, Archer / Shiru says, like, and I was right all along, in terms of, yeah, this isn't going to work, but I still did it. Like, I feel like that one makes sense and is the inevitable conclusion to what we've seen for the entire series.
I think it does make sense, but then why disappear at the end there? And
What do you mean? Just, like, floats away? He becomes a Guardian, won't he?
I don't know.
He transformed.
Is there anything that
before
says that he wouldn't?
He went away. I mean, to me,
Is it
it felt like he was changing forms because the Shiro that is living now is living a different route. Mm-hmm. And he has been
possible.
retroactively changed to this
Yeah.
different, more hopeful hero rather than the pessimistic hero.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't wearing red, he was wearing like a white scarf.
Yeah. And we've seen him wear that outfit before he became, before he died.
In the flashback forward.
So it's possible. I like that. That could be it. I don't know. The way I took it with him being surrounded by all the swords in the wasteland look again, it just made me feel like, yeah, it still happened, but that doesn't mean you give up or you stop trying, you know?
Yeah.
It is that living hypocrisy like he's talked about and everybody's told
Because
him
that was
about.
Shiro's whole thing.
Yeah.
Like he was a faker through and through because he was living this lie
Yeah.
that everyone else kept saying like, no, you're trying to live this way, but in the end you're just gonna undo yourself.
I also
I don't care. I want to do this.
Sure, yeah. I mean that's the dream and keep it alive. I also, if that is waiver, which again 90% I guess I would say that's waiver. Man, I wish he had bulked up. Wouldn't it be awesome if he was like, "Who's this giant man? Who do you think it is?"
He looks good with
Yeah.
the long hair, though.
Yeah,
He does.
What bothers me, and I get it, it's probably because of the crest, but like these two high school freshmen beat Gilgamesh,
Yep.
but they're not the best in the school.
Well, that's the thing about him beating Gilgamesh is that he is like Gilgamesh is the only one he could have beat. He couldn't have beat any of the others, so he's not as impressive.
He's
It's just
glass
that
cannon.
it's just that he happens to be the scissors to Gilgamesh's paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
Gilgamesh can literally smother any other rock.
doesn't mean that Scissors is the best
Yeah.
kid in the school. It just
least-
means that he could beat Paper.
And hey, don't get me wrong. I also am kind of like, man, that's how you beat Gilgamesh. All right, but it makes sense to me, and like logically.
It didn't make any.
And Reen lost her fight to whatever it seemed, right?
He's kind of lucky that Gilgamesh gave him
Archer saved her, right?
7,000 chances to
No,
live.
he's talking about
Talking about this episode.
Luvia.
To Lady
Oh,
Yoda.
at least they fought to a draw, if not a loss.
So I mean, and she did some cool stuff too, but she was more magical, maybe not as physical, you know. So I don't know.
And generally, you have your servants fight. You know, she's just doing what she can.
Sure, yeah, but they both fought.
Yeah. I mean, other than like what I felt was kind of a useless scene of going back and to their original school and being like, we're going to the place you just saw. Like,
I feel like we should have started there.
yeah, I suppose so. Like, I felt like that was not bad, just useless. The other stuff, when it comes to the only other thing that I'm really hitting on was the track thing. But it could be one of those things like, hey, we have an answer. We're not going to tell you. It's something that you can talk about with your friends or something. You know, it could just be like, there's a hanging thread. I wonder what it could be. We're not going to explain everything. You know,
In another route,
it'd be
you
interesting.
could pull
Weird
on
choice
that
to
thread.
choose on.
I don't know. I mean, I've already said like it could be like, what if something did change and she is thinking of a memory from a timeline that no longer exists or something? I don't know.
Like a Steins Gate thing.
We didn't have any. I don't know. We didn't have any like information of any of that time stuff among them or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so it seems weird to be like, well, that's what that was.
I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying I don't know.
Yeah, I know, and it seems like it seems like a weird thing to like. If it's like a hanging thread for like, what
Yeah.
could it be? It seems like a weird one to put there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it.
Maybe it's more of a romance storyline
mean,
rather
for me-
than
Maybe, yeah.
like a hero of justice storyline.
For me, it's the envelope. Like, what was the envelope?
I think that was his like acceptance letter that he was
To the
going
mages?
to refuse. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think
Yeah,
that's
that
what it
sounds
was
right.
because he was like he had it and he like just put it down. It's like I don't want to think about it right now.
And at the end
I'm
there,
not
he
gonna
says
join.
no. I told him no.
And she's
Yeah.
like, you know what? You're right. Let's go. Let's follow you for a bit.
3 years from now.
3 years from now.
Yeah, he can be in the school for 3 years, and then he gets kicked out.
Well, she said she was going to get kicked out, right?
He is going to get kicked out, and he can't live with her anymore, I think, and she wants to live with him.
I thought
what I
she
got?
said, I guess I got 3 years before I get kicked out. Or
I
something.
thought that's what she said.
I think it's because
Maybe-
of him now.
Yeah, it could be that she wants to live with him, and if he gets kicked out, she gets kicked out, kind of thing. Or maybe that's a dorm specifically for masters and apprentices.
I mean, she could have worded it that way in the same sense of like, well, I guess I'm getting kicked out when you do.
Yeah,
And that's why she worded it the way she did.
I say, fuck this school. We were in a Grail War. What the hell did you do? You know, you come to my school. I'm gonna start a new school.
And it seemed
blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
like she said that, people will not like you because of it. So people must know then that they were in the Grail War.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the teacher dude in the hallway did, right? Didn't he say
Yeah.
something that was like a...
Well, that was the thing in the voiceover that she said, like, you know, just because you're this little weakling that doesn't know basic magic, you still survived the Grail War, and people are going to want to come after you for that.
Yeah, I mean, there had to have been like,
It's
hey,
like when someone-
Japan is on fire, what happened? And they send some investigators, like, oh, there was a Grail War that happened 50 years before. I don't know why I looked at the watch. Happened 50 years before it should have. Oh, damn, what happened?
These kids.
You know that priest was a dick? Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Still think they should have went to the rebels of the church and find his Catholic gold.
What?
So they could have, they seem to have money.
They did
Society
cover the
storage.
building of the temple again. They
Yeah.
covered the teacher being gone and stuff. I think that's why they went back and went to his thoughts with that. Was just like,
Maybe.
hey, some of those things. We're gonna talk about Shinji. Is he okay?
Yeah.
He's okay. Where's Sakura? She's there with him.
Are there any
feeding him-
questions about why your teacher's missing? He just showed up anyway.
feeding him bug apples. That was kind of a weird
They
thing.
have
Where it's
drift-
like,
they have drifter
man, he
teachers.
just showed up at that temple, became a teacher. When
Yeah.
that temple disappeared.
Yeah,
Alright.
drifter
Like,
teacher.
you're not going to fill out a missing persons report or anything?
Did you guys think that those apples looked weird?
No.
They're just cut slices.
I mean, we've seen other examples of them cutting apple skins like that before.
I really thought they looked like bugs, and that's how they got Sakura to be powerful, was with those weird bugs and shit. I just thought there was some kind of like,
She's feeding him more bugs.
I don't know. I just
Apple
thought,
shaped or bug shaped apple slices. That's fine.
I just thought there was some kind of weird like maybe message within that or something.
Oh, like she's poisoning him. Like,
I don't know, poisoning him, trying to buff him again, get him more mad. I don't know. Shit.
they said he was gonna be fine in a couple days. It's bullshit.
Bullshit.
I think they should have like a nightingale.
The
nurse
weirdest thing
kill
of
him.
all that is
Yeah.
that Gilgamesh took that heart from that little girl
Yep.
and just shoved it into his chest.
Yeah, he's got that heart.
And I'm like, he's fine?
He's fine.
He's like,
He's probably better than fine. He's probably gonna live forever.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's unfortunate.
unfortunate.
I want him to live less.
He should be in jail.
He should be in jail. At least cut his dick off or something. That kid is gonna assault somebody. It was his greatest dream. He had the power of the world in his hands. Gilgamesh as his servant. He's like, I need to assault this lady. Does not deserve his dick. If you really think it, no. Go ahead.
I did kind of enjoy the moment of getting Shiro to say goodbye to Saber.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird to be like, man, he was with her for this long and had no idea who she was, you know? Because he's like, you didn't even tell me you were a king. I'm like, you didn't know who she was at all? Like, it's just weird. I really think that this show didn't have like anything in it until the very end. Where like I just keep thinking like, well, if we would have watched this one first,
Yep.
it'd been
Glad we
weird.
didn't. If we had watched this one first and we got to this epilogue, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to see them more. I'm glad we watched Fate Zero first. I mean, don't be wrong. I'm very interested in the rest, but not on the merits of this final episode, you know? Final episode of Fate Zero, I feel like, what the hell happens next? Let's keep going, because there's a lot there. This one, I feel like, interesting. Okay. It doesn't feel like there might be a whole lot of threads left over for like for the next, if there's going to be a next war.
Like, there's no like, wait, Gilgamesh still alive?
But then you have all these different routes of the same wars and stuff like that. So I'm assuming this is the war that the routes happen, and Fate Zero was just a prequel of one route. Correct?
I don't know.
I think
This is the war that the routes happen, and
So yeah, you
I
have.
The
assume that there's
prequel
a
is like
canon.
a state route, and
Yeah.
then this route is like the interstate. There's a whole bunch of lanes.
Like, I think the story is about these events, this event of this. Like, I don't know if like another movie is gonna be about a whole other Grail War. I feel like it's this Grail War is the focus of the Fate series, and then we also were able to go back, watch Fate Zero, and see some of the backstory that's talked about
So
in this
there
one.
are, from what I understand, I believe there are some Fate series that cover other wars.
Okay.
But I think the Heaven's Feel movies still cover this one, but just a different route.
Gotcha.
I think.
Like, we better see more Ryder. We
I
didn't
think
get
there's like
any
a Fate
Ryder.
Apocryphica or something. That's
Okay.
like maybe the first one,
Okay.
but I'm not entirely sure.
Interesting.
Okay. They're called apple bunnies, Aaron.
whatever.
The little apple things.
I guess they could be bunnies.
Because they look like,
Bunny.
bunnies with the ears folded back.
They look like bugs.
They do a bit look like bugs. They're
We're
also
back
called
there
apple
searching for
rabbits.
various apple slice shapes.
Yeah, they're called bunny apple slices.
Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feel. Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feel 2.
And there's a 3.
I feel like you're wasting my time.
And there's just those 3 movies.
Like I'm back at that high school 2 years ago.
I've seen Prime.
I wonder if the movies give any more into anything. Because they came out in 2017 was the first one.
Beware if they didn't.
Well, yeah, I think they're different routes.
Yeah, if they're different routes, they might not give anything.
Yeah, but they might have some, like, you know, they do have some questions. You'll figure out the track stuff if you do see it.
You might not even have, like, Shira might not even be in it or something.
Well, yeah, I don't think the routes can exist together,
Yeah.
right? Like, whatever happens in those movies, I think, is going to be a completely different continuity from what happened here.
Except for same characters and setup.
Sure.
Yeah. I enjoyed Fate Unlimited Blade Works. It had some of the best moments in the Fate series that I've seen so far. I think I prefer Fate Zero just as a series over it, but again, not a knock because this had some of the best moments and some of the best visuals and songs as well.
Like the zombie chicken episode. That's a hell of an episode.
Yeah, it was.
Wait, what? Zombie chicken episode?
You know one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't know it. Rick?
That's from Zero.
From Fate Zero, you mean?
yeah.
Not in this one?
No, it's not
Oh,
this one.
okay. I was saying, like, this one has some of my favorite moments. So, yeah, like the zombie chicken episode. I was like, that's from last one.
You said Zero is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but UBW has some of his favorite moments
Nope.
in it.
I was talking about whole episode. No moment, whole episode. So good.
No, I feel similarly in that I liked Fate Zero better, but I did definitely enjoy this.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, the animation, the music, the action scenes, and just the creativity of the world carried through both of them, I feel like.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I
I
like
like the comedy in this one.
I liked
Quite a lot.
Reen a lot. And
Reen's
like,
probably the best character in this one.
yeah, I liked her a lot. Her Saber's pretty good too, but I think it's because of what we got from Saber in the last season, the last series as well.
Yeah.
you know?
Definitely built on that.
Shiro's tough to kind of get a hold on a little bit because like
Well, he's by design one note.
yeah, he's lacking a bit because there's that confusion on his.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of like this. I don't know. It's a weird idea. I don't know if I like it actually. This future maybe hero, but not yet. So now he's here in the past, and I don't know. There's some weird shit there.
I mean, it was a cool, like, theory crafting and stuff as we're going through, and it's like, wait a minute. Do you think Archer could be, and you, like, hesitate to say, like, are we crazy, or, you know, and then finding that out, and then, you know, that was, like, 10 episodes before they actually revealed it, but still, like, it was cool, like, you know, getting that and picking up, you know, things that maybe we shouldn't have picked up because we had seen Fate Zero already, you know, and then that also leading us down the rabbit trail of us being like, well, who's the secret master that's in the school? And they're like, you idiots, we know it's Sakura. And it's not Sakura. That was like, holy shit, they got me. No, I got myself, you know? So I enjoyed that as
And
well.
I managed to do shit with Sakura.
Yeah.
Thought you were talking to Gilgamesh for nothing.
Yeah. This one does feel a little aged down, and especially because our protagonists are younger than most of the masters from Fate Zero. And we're focused more on them rather than
All from
everyone.
one school.
Yeah, I know.
No.
But I
know.
But I did enjoy that, you know, like, I don't know, I did kind of enjoy the younger take on this war as well. I might prefer the other one, but I still enjoyed, like, the way Tosaka dealt with a lot of these things, which felt like a teenage girl as opposed to a battle-hardened mage father.
The thing I liked in the last one was how long it went to where I'm like, who am I supposed to root on?
Yeah.
I did like that because like all of them had like a nice, compelling story as to like, man, I understand why he's doing it. I understand why he's doing it.
Yeah.
But like in this one, like,
But also, they're all villains in a way. Like, there
Sure.
are no good people in this war, except maybe Waver.
sure.
But, like, you know, everyone has done very bad things and will continue to do those bad things. And sure, some of them might want better things than others from this grail, but what they'll do to achieve it is a terrible thing.
Sure.
And, like, with Shiro, you don't get that. Like, he just wants to be good for being good and will continue to be good.
But then Gilgamesh...
This one's much more clear cut with like, hey, Reen and Shiro both are just good, whereas like all the rest of the masters are just assholes and we need to kill them all. You know what I mean?
And
like,
it works so well with what Gilgamesh reveals as this is what the Holy Grail is. This is what the war is. It is the culmination of all of the wishes of man, and it's all bullshit.
Now,
And it create hell.
it was really only one episode when we got it, but I did like the reveal of Iliasville and Hercules and like their relationship,
Their
and
bonding?
backstory,
Yeah, I wish that happened more.
kind of. But
Yeah.
we got it for like one episode, and then
I would have liked
done.
more of
They were
her
dead.
because her story didn't. There wasn't a whole lot of her story, which is
No.
why I wonder, like in like Heavensfield or something else, right? Like in another route, do you still have these characters, but it's all different rather than like. You could also go another route where you probably have entirely different characters, or
Yeah.
you don't have Shinji's not even involved, or
Yeah,
you know
you
whatever
have
the case may
Sakura
be,
instead of
you know?
Shinji.
Like
you
there's
have,
or no teacher or whatever the case
yeah.
may be. you
Do they
know?
have different servants, or they have the same servants?
I don't know.
Do we get more Lancer? Because I want that. Lancer
I
was
also
cool in
wonder,
this, too.
like, is there and which one is the canon route? Like, is this the canon route that carries forward if the series does go forward, or is it Heaven's Feel, or is it a different one?
Sure. Similar
Well,
like,
and then Disney buys you and change canon.
it's similar like in KOTOR, where KOTOR had a, like, here's what you can do, but this is the canon route that we're going to continue when we make KOTOR 2
Yep.
based on this.
Fucking.
Mass Effect did the same thing, I think. I think Mass Effect had different routes. So that's all both BioWare stuff, though.
Yes, sir. Okay. Anything else for Fate?
I mean, none of us were able to experience it the other way, but I feel like we watched it in the right order.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that my perspective is correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
My perspective was correct
Yeah.
in that Waver was their teacher.
See, and what's that based on? That was the other thing, where it's
Looks
like,
like
man,
him.
that could be Waver.
The voice, I think, is the same.
We also said that the teacher could have been Waver in the school way back
I
when.
never said that.
That was said. Someone said that.
Someone said that. I never agreed.
It was said. I'm
said
pretty
that.
sure. I'm
He
pretty
said
sure you
that.
said that, Eric.
I
think I
laughed
said
him out of the building.
said it
That's
first.
not him.
Right.
Yeah, and Eric agreed. Like maybe that could be. So
It's like, I ain't him.
this here is just like, hey, here's an older guy.
I was like, I think that guy's a serial killer.
His
Guess
face
who
is
was
the
right?
same.
His face looks a lot like him.
His face
like-
is a face.
It's
His
a
voice is
drawn
the same.
eyes,
Yeah,
nose, and
I
mouth.
think-
How many faces in this show look the same in general? It's just the
No.
artist is just drawn
That's just
faces.
racist.
You know.
That's just racist.
It's not. It's an artist just drawing this. If you have Eric draw 10 drawings of people, I bet there are going to be some similarities in some aspects. Hands, necks, something.
This guy's gonna have a real big dick.
What about the other guy?
That's you.
Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. Fate, though, is not quite over. Available on early access right now. It's still the OVA that we're going to be watching. So make sure you guys check that out. Available over at patreon.com/blindwave. And also while you're there, the show that replaced this one has its 4 episodes available over at patreon.com/blindwave as well. Eric, we came back from the future to tell them this.
Oh, I was confused.